Up on everything happened today.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live Season 3, Episode 42. DJI Mavic Mini 2 is coming. Ron Brown, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, Bill. We had a great day here at the Jersey Shore. A lot of news broke today. We have a lot of ground to cover, and for the show we were talking, it's almost like it's Christmas for drone fans today. But one last thing before I throw it back to you. Does anybody want to buy a gently used Mavic Mini 1? So I'm going to throw it back to Bill now. You pay me in private if you want a good deal on a Mini 1.
Yes, message Ron. He can help you out. Let's see who's here. Drone Master's here. Ray Kelly's here. John Olson, Steve Mack, Ted Bowman. Welcome, Ted. Wally Drone World. Akara Show. Okay, and Collins here. All right, we got a good.
David Martin Graff just joined us.
And David Martin Graff. Okay, great. Marcus will be joining us probably a little later here, but
Drone Boy and Lauren and Thomas. I can't Holgram. I can't pronounce, but I want to shout out Lauren. Lauren, I think he had surgery scheduled today, and it went real well, Bill. He didn't have it at all. So
Lauren had surgery today.
Well, it was scheduled, but it didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, Lauren, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and hope everything turns out okay.
That's the news and updates, folks.
That's the news and the updates.
Lauren's non-surgery.
Well, it's always nice to get things in the mail. It's always nice to get swag. And Kelly told me he was going to send me some swag. Okay.
Oh.
Kelly sent me
from Ready Set Drone.
He sent me a Yeti cup.
Oh wow!
And plus 2 T-shirts. They're hanging back behind me. Those two T-shirts.
Nice display there, Bill.
One from Spin Up. I got them hanging up, and he sent me some stickers too. So Kelly, thank you so much. This is great. Of course, Valerie's probably going to try to fight me with his cup. So. But I'm going to try to hide it, make sure she doesn't get her hands on it. So
she likes to keep her coffee nice and warm, huh?
Yeah. So this isn't going. This is here.
Well, I think I got a better mug than that around.
Well, you do, Ron. You sure do. I know a lot of other people that have that mug now too. We got a lot of people set up. Everybody that was on the 10,000 subscriber show. Got that mug as a gift for me. So
I want to be on a 100,000 subscriber show.
I'm ready. I'm ready, Ron. Let's go. Okay, let's just get there. As far as other news and everything is concerned, I just wanted to spend. I know what the big news of the day is here. Okay, Fimi X8 SE 2020. Now, I won't spoil my latest video. I kind of will in a little bit. The sport mode. Now, one of the things that I did a test, and you guys can watch the video. One of the things that I did do was I know Marcus said to check the legs for cracks afterwards, because I know on his 2018 he said he got some stress cracks, and I was very thorough. I checked them all out. Nothing going on with that. Okay. However, an old friend cropped up during my test. Okay. This interference stuff, as I call it, and it's
you're at the bad part of the lake.
Yeah, it seems to be in that part of the lake. And what's really interesting is, if I had any problems when I was flying the Mavic Mini, it was over at that part of the lake where I would have some fluttering with the signal over there, and it's right at a certain point. Now, what's real interesting is when I flew the Fimi at 400 feet, I didn't get it. Okay, it was when I was at 100 feet. So that leads me to believe there's something going on transmission-wise there. Could be a cell phone tower. Something is in that signal range that hits the Fimi. And see a lot of things from my limited electronics and radio knowledge. Some things are shielded, so signals won't affect them. Okay. Obviously, probably more expensive things, okay? Like I know, like if you step up to a Matrice series, that kind of thing, those are going to be shielded. This isn't shielded, so that's why this kind of thing happens. And, somebody said, oh, did Fimi make a mistake in sending you a new drone? And I said, well, no, because it was happening every single time. Okay. Now I've made trips over there where it hasn't happened before. So that's where we're at with that. I mean, I don't know what else to say. One of the other things that before we get into the Mavic Mini 2 talk is, and I learned this from Lauren, Ray Kelly, it's not a DJI. That's a good one, Ray. I learned this from Lauren. We've talked about the FCC Grant ID database, and we're going to go out there in a minute. One of the things that Lauren told me was, it used to be, there was a period of time before a drone would appear. Like I remember specifically, Ron, when the Spark came out back in 2017. Okay. It came out on the FCC Grant ID database the day the Spark was released. Okay. And I was always under the impression that it had to precede that by X number of days. And that's what somebody had told me. Not the case from what Lauren told me. It could be as little as 24 hours before the release when they put that out on the FCC Grant ID database. Okay. So that's something that I learned. I didn't know that. And Lauren, thank you for telling me about that.
And also I discovered today that, you don't have to name, you don't have to give the final name to your device when you apply for the, the FCC grant or whatever. You could call it a generic name and then change the name to the final name, near the end.
Yeah. You just have to get that out there, and you have to produce the documents out there. Now, we can see, and let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and segue into the Mavic Mini 2. Now, Hey Kestelou broke this story, and then a lot of people said, it's probably not going to happen. This is just, and then boom, what do we get? The FCC filing, and I'm going to go ahead and put this up.
Did that just happen today, the filing?
The filing just happened today. Yeah, let me go ahead, and I'm going to put this up on the screen here.
And isn't the filing under just the name a camera drone?
It's called camera drone. Okay. Now it does have, when you get to the actual picture here, and one of the things that I wanted to share was, and this was real interesting. It lists a date on here for there's applicant information, FCC ID. Okay, short-term confidentiality. Okay, does short-term confidentiality apply to this application? Yes. If so, specify the short-term confidentiality release date. Look at the release date here. It's April 3rd, 2021. So what that means is DJI can keep all this information, or the FCC can keep all this information private until 2021. And what I mean by all this information, the actual specifications, owner's manual, that type of thing. That's part of that agreement. That's what they agree to. Now, I will drop a link in the description to this. And the thing that you really want to hone in on is this right here. It is the label, okay? Now, it shows a picture of the label. It has camera drone up here. And it says the model MT2PD, okay?
And isn't that model number similar to the Mavic Mini 1's model number?
I don't know, Ron. I was going to look that up. But it does tell us some information about the battery. It's 20.
And the battery's got more volts in it. I think the first one was 7.2, and this is 7.7. So we got a stronger battery.
It's a stronger battery, which is going to mean that's excellent, Ron. It's going to mean a longer life. Now it also shows,
or maybe Bill, it's got more power. The power of that more powerful image processor.
That's probably.
I know you're getting to that in a minute, but I won't say any more.
No. Back here, they show a little. They have to show where that label is going to go. You can see the back door of the battery compartment for the Mavic Mini 2. This is where that label's going to go in there. Okay. And there's another picture of that, but basically that's the picture of that. Now, one of the things that Hey Kestelou talked about was my buddy Frank didn't like the fact that the Mavic Mini does not have 4K. I mean, he was pretty adamant about that. So expect that. And, Ron and I talked a little bit. expect that to be kind of like one of the chief things that we will find, the upgrades we will find with the Mavic Mini 2.
Now, Bill, can I stop you for a second there? Do you think there's any chance at all that the Mini 2 gets the same quad-bear processor that the Mavic Air 2 has in it?
I don't know, Ron. And the reason I don't know is the room inside there, how big that processor is. Because, from what I remember, from what people had said, one of the big reasons why they didn't have 4K in the Mini was the ability to cool that processor down, because it needed a lot of airflow to cool that processor down.
Right, because we're talking all rumors here, but going back to middle of 2019, there were all sorts of rumors that there were 4K prototypes of the Mavic Mini out there for testers, but that was overheating. That was a big rumor in the summer of 2019, as you recall, Bill.
Oh, absolutely. And, and I think, they've obviously solved that issue. Okay. And, if it was providing more cooling or a different processor, or maybe it has the processor from the Mavic Air 2.
Could you imagine if this had the same quad? I mean, I know I'm hoping beyond hope here, but even if it has a more generic, what is it? 1 1/3 size sensor. I mean, the same size sensor that drones like the Parrot and Nafi had. They're 2 years old, that had 4K and HDR video with them. So it's possible they could still up their specs without having the quad-bear processor. So
that's true. That's very true. And what else we'll see? And I think the other question is, and this is what I got when I talked about the Mini 2 previously, was, everybody, because, for Lauren up in Canada and other countries, Ron, the weight of this is like, that's probably the number one selling point of the Mini is the 249 grams. I mean, the big question is this over 249? And if so, what is it?
I don't think it will be. They're not increasing the size of the battery or the frame. It seems they're not. I mean, the size of those little sensors are so small. Whatever. I don't think putting a bigger camera sensor in is going to mean more. It's going to be a most unmeasurable weight gain.
Yeah, I think so too. I think engineers are paid to save weight, and I think anywhere they can, they're going to do this, Ron. They may look at, say, for instance, okay, and I'm just throwing an example out here. I don't know. Instead of using screws to put the props in, have them be like the other Mavics, where you twist them in. And you're not using those screws, which
right, and the whole suit with all tails over, so they could do that now.
Yeah. Just little things that engineers could sit there, and rake their heads over and say, what are we going to do to try to save weight to keep this at 249 grams? Because I know that's something that's so important. Now, besides,
and maybe just throw one thing, and with the Mini 1, the Mavic Mini 1, it was a twofold war, really. It was a war to keep it under 249 grams, and it was also a war for internally in DJI to keep the price point at $399. So there were two different, almost impossible struggles going on, Bill, keeping the weight down and keeping the price down at the same time. Well, as you would say, you got to give them kudos for doing that. I mean, other people make small stuff. Like, remember when like Apple first came out with like the MacBook Air, which was incredibly small, but also it also came at an incredible high price to get that smallness. Where DJI delivered the smallness without putting a high price in there. And to me, that was a great engineering accomplishment.
Well, Lauren put in there that it's going to be heavier. I just looked in the chat. And David Martin Gaff, the Mini 2 may not utilize a gimbal. That's interesting.
Oh, it may have that camera that we saw leaked all summer long. That EIS type camera. That everybody suspects are going to come on the FPV drone that we'll get to in the next segment here.
Yeah. So we see that now how much different is going to be. I would say this, and I think Lauren could probably chime in if he's able to do so.
He may be under DNA.
Yes, he's probably under DNA. I don't see it physically changing I think we're still going to be what you have on your desk there, Ron, is still what we're going to see physically.
And Lauren corrected himself. He said, no, that's not what I said. I said the style of the prop is heavier.
Oh, okay. So
gotcha. So kind of what you were saying, Bill, you think the props will change, and Lauren's kind of backing up with saying the style of the props will be heavier.
Okay.
Which I think that probably means they're going to be the twist-on ones, like we just said, because the lawsuit with Alltels, whatever, say you can go back to twist-on props.
Well, also too, remember with the case, Ron, and I know Lauren talked about it. A lot of owners that use the Mavic Mini case, their props broke because of the case. Remember that?
Right.
There were
exactly.
a lot of people that had issues with that. So that's probably another point of probably why they did that. I mean, I can tell you this, Ron, when I fly somewhere with a drone, I always take the props off. I mean, I never leave them on in the case. I mean, even if I have a nice rugged case, I always take them off. I mean, it just makes sense.
Did you hear what I said last week? To show what I do is when I put the drone on the shelf, I take the drone out of the case and take any straps or anything off and just let it sit there with nothing touching it. And I don't put it back in the case until it's ready to go out in the field again. So I don't take the props off, but I take it out of the case so it sits there free.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Take a look at the comments here. Ted Balsa Wood props from Ted. So, Ron, what other things do you think? I mean, DJI is really limited, but what other things do you think that DJI could add to a Mavic Mini 2 besides 4K?
Yeah, I think 4K will be the big thing they'll advertise. But from a photography standpoint, and Lauren will agree with me too. Lauren's an incredible photographer. On the photo side of it, I want them to add DNG RAW files, not just JPEGs. And I want camera settings. Like, okay, you can only take a JPEG photo. That's your only photo setting. But let's get some, let's get DNG. Let's be able to take, auto bracketed photos. Maybe let's throw some panos in there. Maybe we can get an HDR or a smart photo. Let's turn this into a real camera rather than, just a push button and you get a JPEG or whatever. And that's my big thing. To me, that's just important as the 4K option. As far as everything else, I mean, maybe be incrementally better in battery life. And it had great battery life anyways. It may be incrementally better in range, but it had great range anyways. So the only thing I could say is, Bill, and this is something near and dear to your heart, somehow increase the strength of the motors a little bit without sacrificing flight time to make it a little bit better in the wind. Now, this will never be the Mavic 2 Pro in the wind. I mean, if you want to fly it in 40, 50 miles per hour, that's never going to happen. I just want it to be slightly better in wind. Is that reasonable, Bill?
That's a real accurate assessment, Ron, because my number one complaint with the Mini beyond anything else was the wind. And down in Florida, and I know Ray Kelly knows it because he lives down here, that's the number one issue that we face. It's not as far as bad weather is concerned, it's the wind. Okay. It's not, I mean, we get the garden variety thunderstorms every single day. After 45 minutes, they're gone. It's dry. You can go out and fly. But the big problem is the wind down here, because especially the closer you live to the coast and to the beach, the more wind you're going to have. It's just a natural thing down
Luckily,
here.
that night when we were flying at Rankin, we had a nice gentle breeze that night.
Oh, see, that was perfect, Ron. I mean, that was just, you couldn't have asked for a better night to fly, because it was a nice gentle breeze. It wasn't one of those 25, 35 mile an hour winds that you get. I mean,
and this time of year down there, late summer, early fall, you're dealing with hurricane breezes on and off too, right, Bill?
Yeah, and guess what? There's one in the Gulf. It's probably heading up towards Texas and Louisiana right now.
Johnny Growflower already alerted to me, said they're on watch out for another hurricane. They've been
this is
bad.
2020. I heard a joke the other day. It says, okay, 2020, you've got the worst year on record. Are you happy now? Leave us alone.
I wish I'd get the mother of all hurricanes and blow the COVID right back to China or something. I don't want people in China anything. Blow it out to the middle of the Pacific or something.
Yes, just we're done with it. Okay, just we're done. We're ready to move on from that. So okay, I think we're kind of in agreement. That the big thing we'll see is the 4K camera. Definitely the camera settings, Ron. I know, like you, when I first got in there and tried to adjust some things, and there wasn't anything in there. It was like, okay, you give me a camera, but you don't give me any tools to be able to do anything with it. Okay. From taking because a lot of people, take pictures with their cameras. I mean, it is a camera drone, so you want to take pictures with it as well. And, things like white balance. Okay. How important is that to taking a great picture?
And luckily they did update the flap to give us the Kelvin settings, which is the same, which is manual white balance, which is just as good. I mean, all you got to do is talk to any photographer, and they'll tell you, well, put it anywhere between 5,600 and 6,200, and you'll be good in most situations. So they did add some nice things, but they still didn't add anything like DNGs or like let you take bracketed photos, and we can go all night about this, but yeah, they need to step up not only the 4K but the photo game on it too. And I think they're the easy fixes, because it's just a matter of putting in a different sensor or a processor to be able to do that. There's small upgrades, and they could do them without spending a lot of money, because remember, the imaging chips and processors that cost too much to put them in the Mini last year and keep it $399 have fallen in price over the course of the year. So they can get those parts cheaper now and still keep the Mini locked in at $399. Here's a question I'm going to ask you before we move on. Do you think it's key for them to keep that $399 price point in, to keep all the Fimis and Hubsons and all the kind of wannabes at bay, or you think it's okay for them to slide that price up to like $449, $499? What do you think is in their DJI's best interest?
I think it's in their best interest to try to keep it at $399, Ron. Marcus is going to join us now. Marcus, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Good evening, Marcus.
Just to try to keep it at $399, Ron.
Hey, sorry guys, I had to mute.
No. We're going to get your 2 cents worth on it on the Mavic Mini 2. We were talking about price right now, and both of us were kind of like in agreement. $399. They've got to try to find a way to keep it there, because the Fimis and the Xenos and those mid-level type drones that are that have some quality there, they could take a great chunk of this. What do you think, Marcus?
Or let me add in there, Marcus. Do you think it's important to hold the fort on that $399 price point with these upgrades, or you think it's okay for them to slide up to like $449 or $499?
Well, I got a little bit of a confession to make. I've been watching some of the things in the chat for the last couple minutes.
Oh, thank you for monitoring.
And let me say this. I think they need to do better. I think it needs a $299 price point. I think it needs a 50-mile-an-hour top speed. I think it needs a 4K camera. I think it needs a 50-minute flight time. I think it needs to have full automated tracking, full 360-degree obstacle avoidance.
Can I place my order right now in the show?
Send your order to Marcus. I'll hand out Marcus's email address so we can send him PayPal money right now. So we can order him off Marcus.
No, so listen, guys. I think they maybe could push the price just a little bit, not too much, because
$449.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they could hold the line, but I don't think it would kill it if they, like you said, Ron, if they pushed it up by $50. Now let's kind of rein in our expectations. They're not going to give us a Mavic Air 2 in a little package. That's not going to happen.
No quad bear processor in there, Marcus?
Well, hopefully what we'll get is a nice an upgrade to the camera. And if that's all we get, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And like Ron, I read that article that you posted, and it does have a little bit higher voltage on the batteries. So maybe that is to push a little bit more robust processor or something, obviously we know that weight is the key. And of course, those props are an issue. So I'm sure they will have fixed those very fragile props. So yeah, and if they could give us removable props, that'd be awesome. But I think beyond that, I think to expect all kinds of tracking and flight time and power and stuff, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, maybe they may add one or two new smart features, or maybe they'll just increase the smart features already have, make them a little more powerful.
And that could be because you just touched on something that I didn't think of, Ron. A lot of people have complained, including myself, that the quick shots are very, very limited. As long as you work within the parameters that they provide, they work good, but you can't go very far with them. You can't. They'll just work within that very limited range, etc.
And it probably goes all back to the thinking that we talked about before. This was intended as a beginner drone, and they did not want to make these intelligent features. They didn't want to have it flying too far away from somebody that's a rookie flyer.
And that's absolutely correct, Ron. You're spot on. Plus, it does not have obstacle avoidance, so that was a consideration. They don't want somebody flying it sideways into a tree or a house or something.
Well, what's we haven't thrown that out yet. That's a good thing you brought up, Marcus. Bill, is there any chance that this thing has any type of obstacle avoidance in it, or will that just, if that came in, that would just blow the price point? And
yeah, I think that's going to blow the price point out, Ron, because
and weight.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Ron said, Marcus, and I don't know if you heard him or not, but camera settings. Adding DNG,
there's software things they could do. I totally agree.
Software wise, being able to add some of these things to be able to, handle photos instead of just JPEG photos, which, if you're not an avid photographer and a photography buff like Ron or like Lauren is, JPEGs are probably fine for you, for most people, but for people that know how to work with them, like Ron, like Lauren, like yourself, it makes a difference.
Yeah. So our friend Stephen Coates up in Canada, this is the drone that he uses, and he's a full-time photographer, videographer, and because of the portability of the darn thing, and that's what I hope they never change. What I love about this thing, I so love this guy because I can just grab it. I got this little package. I got 3 batteries. I got 90 minutes of flight time in there.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to deploy. I can hand launch it, hand catch it. You can literally fly it anywhere. It's inconspicuous.
Right. Nobody. If somebody sees you with that little thing, nobody hassles you for it. Security guards kind of ignore you with that little thing. But show up with a Phantom 4 and see how much you're ignored.
Well, or even a full-size Mavic. I mean, because they make more noise and everything else. I mean, I told you guys the story about I was over at one of the parks, and there were a bunch of the groundskeeper people there working that day, and they saw me out there, and I had my tripod set up and everything. And after I was done and I'd landed the drone and put it away, I was just leaving. I stopped and talked to them, and they said, "Oh, what were you doing out there? Were you surveying or something?" Because they saw my tripod, right? And I said, "No, I was flying a drone." And they said, "What?" And so I pulled this thing out and showed it to them, and they said, "We had no idea." They said, "We had no clue." They didn't see it, they didn't hear it, they didn't, which is one of the strengths of this guy. That's what I'm saying. And that's the point. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is DJI won't push it over the edge where it just becomes another Mavic Air 2, or which would be, I'm not saying that it would be bad to have those kind of features. I'm just saying I just don't think that's what this drone is intended for.
Well, it's from a popularity standpoint, okay. It's through the roof. I mean, every time I did a Mavic Mini video, I could count on it for a certain number of views. I mean, and some of the ones that I've done from like about a year or so ago, they're still getting views because people are still watching them, because it's a lot of people who have never had a drone before are buying the Mavic Mini and are finding out, this is a pretty darn good little thing for the price. I mean, you're getting a lot of bang for the buck with this, for sure.
Big time bang for the buck, man. You got all of that in this little package, and you guys touched, I think, earlier on the props. That is my solution to keeping those props in place.
Okay.
So that they don't hit the bottom of that case there. And by the way, if you guys noticed that, those instructions that DJI put in the bottom of that case, who reads that crap, right? Not me.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, one thing, and I don't know if you caught this, Marcus, but Lauren did say, because I had talked about saving weight. I said maybe they'll go to like the pop-in props like they have on the Mavic, and Lauren said it's heavier, and I go, oh, okay, the Mavic Mini's heavier. She says no, the props are heavier. So
so we talked about the lawsuit with Alltel's over with, so now they can probably put the the clip-on prop style on there and not have to go with these screw-ins and be safe in a lawsuit. So Bill, I think we covered a lot of like the specs of this, but here's the big question, and we'll go to you, Bill, and it's okay. Now, the grant you said just came out today. Now, and we saw that date where they have to keep stuff secret. But how soon do you think we'll see this product? And they said in the stuff I read today, I think I'm quoting, hey, I'm not sure, but they said like last time the drone appeared 3 weeks after, the FCC grant was first appeared. Do you think we'll see the same type of timeline this time around?
That's very curious, Ron, because you know what, as you remember, it came out in November, and it was like it was end of October, and I remember I got mine November 11th because that's Veterans Day, and I remember that. So
you drove to Best Buy that morning, correct?
Yeah, I drove to Best Buy before I went to work to pick it up. And
you had to work on Veterans Day?
Yeah, they were.
I just
But I think timing for this. I think we're probably going to see it. I think it's probably going to get released right around Thanksgiving time. That's just a guess.
A little bit later than this year.
Yes, it's just a little bit a guess in timing with Black Friday. I think they're trying to. That would really, talk about for sales, especially for Best Buy. It'd really pick it up.
Hey, Bill. So Lauren just sent me a message here. He sent me some pictures that he recently took with the Mini, and he wanted to emphasize how good the camera. And he said, "Hey, if you want to show them, do you want me to?"
Yeah, please do.
Okay, we'll share screen here, and tell me when you got it. Okay, so here we go. This is, I guess, I think it's just this single picture. Yeah, no, that's not it. That's just this single picture is what he wanted us to show, and he took that with the Mavic Mini. So clearly that's
the Mini 1 or the Mini 2, Marcus.
Yeah, he didn't say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. He's under DNA.
Yeah, he's under DNA.
Folks out there, it's the Mini 1. Trust me.
I gotta admit, look, if you look at the sky, and of course this is through Facebook, so it's been de-resed in Facebook. I mean, the colors look good, the sky looks good. Look at those clouds. I mean, it's a pretty strong device just as it is.
Marcus, that's no Fimi X8 color profile.
That is no Fimi X8 at all. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna kind of, this is kind of a little bit of a segue here for the Phantom 5. And okay, I was debating on whether or not I should even do a video on it, and I did. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this picture up here. Now, this picture comes, a little bit of background. This picture comes from an email, and it looks like it's an email internal to DJI. And I think you guys have seen it, and can easily see a recognizable shape right here, the battery that's lit up, and then you see the Roman numeral V, and it has 2020.12 on there. So, and a lot of people are just, going nuts about this and are just, through the roof. I wanted to get your guys' take on this, And what you guys think?
Well, you're not going to make me buy a Phantom 5, are you?
I'll be honest with you, Bill. I struggle with it because I just think we're so far beyond those big drones. I mean, DJI has already announced that the Inspire is a dead product. So I just struggle to believe that they're going to have another fixed wing drone of that size. You never say never. You never know. But I would bet against it, I guess would be my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Go ahead, Ron.
For consumer drones, what's the last successful kind of big non-folding drone? How far are we going back to have said the last consumer priced big drone that was a success?
Would be the Phantom 4.
Yeah, it would be the Phantom 4. Yeah,
and which of course the original Phantom 4 was released like 5 years ago. I mean, I know they updated the Pro and the V2 that Bill has, but really the basic Phantom 4 is like 5 years old now.
Yeah.
So that last time a non-foldable big drone was a hit, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people tout the one thing that you can't get on any other DJI drone. That's the mechanical shutter, okay? And a lot of people tout it for this. And, it's 360 obstacle avoidance and, the whole plethora of things that come with this. And now, OcuSync 2.0, working with the smart controller, the Phantom 4 Pro V 2.0. I mean, it to me, it's golden as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's not a lot. You can't really, how do you improve upon that? Okay, yeah, you can. But what I'm saying is, as Marcus pointed out, the trend towards these style drones is DJI's made a real clear commitment. It's getting away, as far as consumer drones are concerned, it's getting away from these larger drones that you have to put in these bulky cases to take with you somewhere to Marcus showed us with the Mavic Mini, a nice little case, can put it in the back seat. It's ready to go. Same with the Mavic 2, same with the Mavic 2, Mavic Air 2. I mean, they're just real nice, real portable, real easy. And the images they produce are absolutely stellar and every bit as good as a Phantom 4 Pro V 2.0. So yeah, I have a tendency to agree with what Marcus said. As far as this is concerned, but who knows if Frank Wang says, you know what, let's try it out. Let's see if it takes off. He owns the company. It's his call, Hey,
so let me ask you guys, what would drive you to buy that drone? I mean, if I think about it myself, I mean, I just can't think of what feature they could put on that would make me want to buy that big fixed wing drone again. I just don't know what that would be.
And then let me piggyback on what Marcus just said here. And what can either make me buy that over the Mavic 3? And will they specifically give this something that the Mavic 3 doesn't have that actually kind of push people over here? How will they differentiate this from the Mavic 3 as far as features?
I just thought of something, Ron, that could possibly be it. What if it's a price point drone? What if it's a really high featured drone that they could sell for $500 or $600 or something? Because they didn't have all the folding and all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing I could think of where it maybe could fit into the scheme of things.
Well, the only thing as far as the feature is concerned, is I know a lot of people talked about it when they were talking about a Phantom 5, is it would have retractable legs like an Inspire does.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would make it, compact. Because, when you're going to put it away in the case, you can fold the legs up and put it in the case, and it's less space as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Bill, I totally understand what you're saying, and I've seen drones like that before where the legs fold up. But the thing is, you already have that with the Mavic, right? Where they fold in. So I mean, there again, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I could see a Phantom 5 for, if they specifically spec'd it out for the what do you call it, the professional market? You know, the mappers, the people like that.
There you go.
They spec'd it out just for a small section of the market, because you mentioned you know, the mechanical shutter. I'm going to take a, I don't know, nobody needs DJI. I'm going to say like 5% of DJI customers want that feature. So why would you put it in all your drones when it's a feature that only a few people want? I mean, I have in my mirrorless cameras, I have the option of a mechanical shutter or the digital shutter. I usually choose the digital shutter because like I could take pictures faster and so on like that. So I even though I have a manual shutter in my real camera, I don't tend to use it that much. I choose the digital shutter, which I would do the same thing on the drone if I had the option, probably, because I don't map. I probably never will map. You know, I mean, again, why put a feature in that to a drone that only affects a soft segment of the market? But if you made a specialty drone like a Phantom 5 and put there, and you target this drone at a, you know, just a small section of the market that needs all these features, they could maybe spec it, and I could see it. And at the end, and the retractable legs, like you said, would be, they could kind of make it into more of a more of a, you know, price friendly, user friendly. What's the drone you just said was discontinued, Marcus? Inspire.
Yeah, the Inspire. Yeah,
like a baby Inspire. I'm just making stuff up.
It's,
this
you
is
know,
all on speculation. I know nothing.
Yeah, and I think that's what this is, because I mean, somebody obviously, this does not look, you know, and I will say this for that image that was up there. I mean, you can tell when there's some obvious photoshopping going on and things. It does not look real obvious with that photo that was up that I just had up there. It was probably, it could have been a proof of concept that was sent around, and somebody got the email and decided to run with it, you know, and have that Roman numeral down there and 12/2020. You know, it's just, you know, to try to maybe get some customer feedback kind of a thing. So, but, you know, who knows at this point?
I'm looking through the chat, and I think I think we got some clues. I think Ron nailed it. So clearly, it's going to be a professional grade product.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
folks, I did not have it. I'm not in DNA. I'm just rambling on there. And here's here's something I can guarantee about the Phantom 5, and more of this is Mini. Bill, I can tell you what day the Mini's not coming out. The Mini 2.
What's that?
October 13, Apple iPhone Day. It won't
iPhone
Day because it won't get any news coverage.
Well, here's the big question of the night: is Ron and Marcus going to upgrade?
Well, funny you say that. Susan scratched her keys scratched her screen in her current phone, so she's been talking about upgrading or whatever. So you know, if I'm going to ride along with her, why not do it, right, Bill?
Why not?
You know what? It is fairly cheap to upgrade. If you sell your old phone, they still have a lot of value to them, so it doesn't really cost that much. So it depends on what they offer. We'll see what happens on the 13th, right? What it's going to bring to the table. I am going to replace Sarah's phone. Sarah's got a 10. It's a couple years old, so it's time to.
And these will be some of these models will be 5G, Marcus.
Well,
right.
Here's my Galaxy S7 Tab 5G tablet. Got it from Verizon.
Awesome.
It's a screamer. It is a real screamer.
Well, I'm competing with you, Bill. I got a iPad Mini 5 off of Philly Mike's recommendation.
All right. Well, my iPad Mini 4 is going to get listed on eBay, so be watching for that if you're interested here. We're going to kind of wrap things up here.
Hey, Bill, I got one more thing to bring
up,
if you would like me to talk about what's going on with the West and temporary flight restrictions.
Yes, please do.
Okay, let me make sure I got the picture up here, and I'm going to ask you for the screen again.
Sure thing.
And share, and tell me when you got it.
Got it.
Okay, there it is. And let me find the right page here. I'm sorry. So I went out to fly today, and I was just right here in town. I was at my usual little Heroes Park, and I pulled up the Before You Fly app, and I got this restricted airspace. And if you look at this, it's covering most of Idaho, virtually all of Montana, half of Wyoming, most of Utah, and half of Nevada, and all of Eastern Oregon as well. That's the biggest TFR I've ever seen. Now, of course, I did not fly. When you click on it, it says it's for firefighting reasons, and it is effective through November 29th. So that means no flying drones until the end of November in this area.
Holy cow. Marcus, you and Sarah, welcome down here anytime. Just want
to well, here, let me add something else. So I'm wondering if this is a mistake on Kitty Hawk and the Before You Fly app. Because if you look on Air Map, and if you know how you can look at DJI's maps?
Yeah.
I fired up my DJI drone. It has no restrictions listed on there, which you know how good DJI is about updating.
Yeah, they are very good with that.
And TFRs. And then also Air Map does not show this either. So my gut is telling me that somebody at Kitty Hawk made some kind of mistake here, but
it could be. I would double check on that for sure. I mean, because that's a huge TFR. That's just insane.
Right. But it's on the Before You Fly app, which is the FAA's app. So anybody out here in this area, I would be very careful about flying your drone until this thing gets resolved.
Yeah. Marcus, thank you for bringing that to our attention. That was spot on there. We got one more thing that I kind of want to cover here is the Mavic 3. Now, latest I'm hearing is, Lauren, with the help of someone up in Canada who is probably under DNA, and I won't mention his name. We're still looking like a February, March kind of time frame as far as that is concerned. So, stay tuned to this channel because we'll get you information when we have it. But that's going to be a drone. It's really going to, I think, split hairs between being a professional drone and a consumer drone. Okay. And I can tell you this, and one of the things that I found out, which was real interesting, when DJI came out with the Enterprise Dual, the thermal imaging camera, there were so many individual buyers that wanted to buy that camera, okay, even though it was considered a commercial drone. And, because I was getting a lot of, Bill, where can I buy it? It's not on the website. I said, you have to go to a DJI dealer, okay? And originally, because they were in such limited quantity, you have to have proof that you were a first responder or were with a first responder type organization to be able to buy something like that. Well, it's not going to be the case with with a Mavic 3, but my thinking is it's going to have all the bells and whistles. It's going to be, if you want, and I'll loosely use the term, a mini Inspire. What do you guys think?
The Mavic 3, I mean, the rumors I've heard there's going to be like maybe two different versions, like one version where it'll have like kind of the type of camera we're used to, maybe one in sensor, but, just a regular looking camera. And then there'll be a second, more expensive model, maybe with interchangeable lenses or maybe interchangeable cameras. And that one maybe can also be, a unit that can be adapted for first responders. Now, of course, it'll be at a higher price point than the basic Mavic 3. That'll fit the needs of most of us, which I don't know if any of that's true or not. You just have been reading these rumors over the past couple months, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense what you were saying about Bill.
Yeah. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, I just want to echo exactly what Ron said. quite sure there's going to be two versions. There's going to be a professional version and a prosumer version. And, you know, a guy like me, I don't need interchangeable lenses or anything, but boy, I would love to have a 1-inch sensor and plus all those features. Wouldn't it be fun to have a Mavic 3 that had the same kind of autonomous capabilities that a Skydio does? That'd be really cool to have that all in one drone. I mean, I love my Skydio, but it does not control like a DJI drone. You know, if you could get all that together, that would be pretty cool. So I'm in agreement with Ron. I suspect there'll be a professional version that's probably a $4,000 or $5,000 drone, and there'll be a consumer version that, if I'm a betting man, it's going to be near $2,000, if not a little bit above. So it's going to be the kind of drone that people aspire to. Because if you think about the main part of the consumer market, the Mavic Air 2 is really all you need, honestly. Yeah. So that kind of gives DJI freedom to put a lot of bells and whistles and professional features in a prosumer drone. And then people that are more serious about it, they'll pay for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, see, here's the thing, okay? And you guys hit on a great point as far as that's concerned, okay? Having as far in prices too, because I really think like a prosumer version is going to be around $2,000, okay? And I think you're going to be looking at $4,000 or $5,000 to get a professional version of this, okay? And I know right away, okay? And we're just speculating here, guys. This is just off the top of our heads, but I know this would happen. And let's say, you know, just projecting out there, you know, Tom Ivins, who's one of my admins and moderators on several of my groups. You guys probably know him. You know, he's down in Miami. You know, he's real big on the Mavic Pilots forum. Okay, he's one of the lead admins out there. Okay, and you know what's going to light it up like a Christmas tree is when DJI comes out with a price for this, and the first thing you're going to see on there, I don't want to pay that much money for that. Oh, okay. You want to get that's like, Marcus, that's like saying, okay, your new Corvette, we're going to add X, Y, and Z onto it, but we're going to keep it the same price. You know that's not going to happen. All Corvette owners know that's not going to happen. It's the same thing here. Okay, we're going to add this, and this onto the Mavic 3, but we're going to keep it the same price. I mean, you're living on Fantasy Island when you're thinking that kind of stuff's going to happen.
Exactly right, Bill. I'll take that analogy a little bit further. So, you know, the base Corvette is a pretty reasonable price, and you know has a ton of features and is really a blazing fast car. It's got the looks and everything. But what they always do is they come out with a Z06 version of the Corvette, which is literally a track-ready car with a, you know, probably 50% more horsepower, a supercharged engine, and so forth. But the price tag is typically over $100,000. So the person that buys that Corvette is the serious guy that wants to take it out on track days and do those kind of things with it. Whereas the regular Corvette, hey, you know, somebody like me that wants to take the wife for a Sunday drive or whatever, right on, and it's more reasonable price. And I think this is going to be kind of that same thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. As far as that's concerned. Now, the other thing before we sign off, because we got about 5 minutes left, was, you know, there's been a lot of rumors about DJI and FPV and coming out with something. What are you guys' thoughts around that? Because
the pictures just got released today of what supposedly is the DJI FPV drone. It looked drastically different than those drawings we saw a couple months ago. And the picture, if you zoom in on the picture, it was you know, pixelated, so it wasn't a very good picture. Whether it's a true picture or not, you know, I do not know. But the rumors seem, you know, pretty heavy. So I think it is coming. You know, and of course, you know, Bill, we kind of skipped over a lot of stuff. What's coming first? What is the Rowan gimbals will be here any day now, and then I think that rumor for the Pocket 2 at the end of October is still pretty firm. So we have those devices probably coming before anything else. So yeah, you know, I bet you they'll try to get the FPV drone there. Bill's providing the not so detailed picture of what supposedly could be the DJI FPV drone. But again, you can see it looks much different from that rendering we saw a couple months ago. So, I don't know what they're in the development stage. I don't know if they'll be able to get this out by the holidays. I don't know if it's even important to get it out by the holidays, because I think the FPV people are they're really a hardcore gang. I don't think they're the type of people that mothers and wives are getting this drone for Christmas. I think the Mini 2 would be more of a Christmas present drone than this thing. But hey, before I throw this over to Marcus for his thoughts, Bill, could you? I'm not an administrator in here as Drone Nation. Could you share the link I put in the private chat to the Philly and Ron show coming up next? Because again,
yes, I will.
Drone Nation doesn't have a wrench here. But I'm going to throw it over to Marcus for his thoughts on the DJI FPV drone that we just looked at.
Well, I think it's just like Lauren has said in the chat here. So 2 FPVs coming, one for a cinewhoop, for lack of a better term, but more of a cinematic FPV drone, which I'm going to be honest with you, is something I probably would be interested in, providing that an old man like me can fly it without crashing it into a tree. And then there'll be more of you could either call it a race drone or a freestyle drone for the really aggressive flyers that do all the gates.
Cookies and so on. In other words,
exactly right.
We're going to put it in the thing, Pocket 2, October 20th.
October 20th. That's just what I was going to say. He's got that's coming October.
And we'll ask Bill if he's going to get the Pocket 2.
Okay, I just put that link in the description.
Thank you so much, Bill. You will get your rolling check from the Philly and Ron show in the mail.
All right. Well, you know what I want?
Bill,
Mikey has all the good things in the waiting room. I want some of those hors d'oeuvres that Mikey has in there. Some Philly cheesesteaks, some genuine, real deal Philly cheesesteaks.
There goes the waistline, Bill.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. As long as I can get a real Coca-Cola with it.
Oh, in Philly, we'll get you like a real birch beer or something like that.
Oh,
you're from
now
Bill.
You're talking.
I forget. Bill's actually, he knows what a real birch beer is.
That's right. That's a Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but Bill's official Philly. I mean, Phil.
You need to treat Marcus to one of those, Ron. Okay.
We'll get Marcus a case of birch beer.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what I could.
We'll get Marcus.
I would give anything to be able to buy that in quantity and get it down here. Okay. It's like, well, now lately I haven't been able to find Coke de Mexico, the glass Coke over at Sam's. They were out the past couple of weeks.
I know you have to go. It's hard to find. Hey, real quick, Philly's known for the cheesesteak. What's Pittsburgh's food they're known for?
It's a place called Permante's. Okay. And they have their sandwich. They have coleslaw and fries are on the sandwich. Okay.
Right. Sounds like something from a Canadian type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what they do is they're so popular, you can order them and they're like freeze dried and put in a cold pack, and you can make them. They'll send you the kit and you can make your own sandwich. Okay. And these things are they're so freaking good.
Yeah. That's a low calorie meal, right, Bill?
Oh, very low calorie. Low calorie, it would do enough for an entire day and probably a day and a half.
Marcus, we're not going to lose any weight if we go to the Philly and Pittsburgh.
Well, you were talking about that. That reminded me of going up into Canada and having a poutine.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking my language right now.
They know how to do it, don't they?
Oh my gosh. Well, we went to Epcot, and we went with my daughter and her stepdaughter and her boyfriend. And, we had steak there, and the steak was okay, but the appetizer was poutine. And this poutine was out of the world. I'm telling you, it was better than the steak that day.
Yeah.
It was so good.
No, the steakhouse, Les Cellier at the Canadian, at Epcot.
Yeah.
Fantastic steak. And anywhere you go, I've been to Canada, they have whole restaurants dedicated to poutine. Poutine. But you know what that is, Ron?
I do.
You do? Okay, good. Well, for our audience, anybody that doesn't know, it's French fries and melted cheese and gravy.
Oh, God.
And it is
Oh,
well, cheese curd, right, Bill? Not
cheese curd,
melted cheese.
Well, there's a place up in Cleveland, Ohio. I saw it on the Food Network. Okay, this guy cooks short rib. Okay, and what he does is he lets it marinate and marinate and marinate, and then he uses that and makes his gravy from that for his poutine. And he's like, it's just like, I was like, oh my gosh. And then he fresh cuts his fries all the time, never anything frozen out of the bag, that kind of thing. So
you see Steve Mack's comment. He said, "I hate poutine," and LO, I'm Canadian.
Ah, Steve. Oh, Steve, you don't know what you're missing. Okay,
I love it.
That's comfort food.
Lauren says he hates it too.
Oh, Lauren, come on, Lauren.
Jeez.
Hey, only us. Whatever they call Americans in Canada. Only us, like tourists, eat it or whatever.
Yeah, in Montreal. I mean, it's like you go from city block to city block. There's a restaurant that has poutine, and that's all they serve.
Restaurant, yeah.
Hey, Lauren, what do you call us Americans up in Canada? It's got to be some kind of slang term for us.
Steve's just west of Toronto.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, folks. We turned this into the food. I'm sorry. I turned us into the Food Network. But Bill, you were going to finish your thought on the Mavic 3.
Yeah, I was just going to wrap things up with the Mavic 3. February, March next year is when we can expect something like this. But I'm going to try to emphasize something to everybody out there who watches this. And I know Ron and Marcus agree with me. And I first heard it from my good friend Ken Donna, original Dobo. Enjoy the drone that you have right now, okay? And if you need a drone right now, get the best one out there for you. Do not wait, because I know so many of you have said, "Oh, I'm going to wait." Don't wait. Get what you need right now.
Bill. Fly what you got.
Fly what you got. Absolutely.
Well, if you don't have anything at all, but if you got something, fly what you got.
You got something, fly what you got. There's a link in the description. There's a link, and I did post a link for the Philly and Ron show. That's coming up, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. I want to thank Ron and Marcus for joining me tonight. This was a lot of information.
A really big show, as Ed Sullivan used to say.
Really big shoe. Absolutely. It was a really – and you know what? We got so much coming up now. Okay, think about it. With Ronin coming out, with the Pocket 2 coming out, with the Mini 2 coming out, with the Mavic 3 coming out. I mean, there's a lot going on.
I'm going to go get a lottery ticket after this show's over with. I'm going to have to get some extra cash for all these goodies.
I was just saying, I got to get my iPad Mini 4 for sale so I can build up the savings fund for drones.
Mm-hmm.
And after talking to Ron last night, I ordered that Evo 2 Pro, and so that already sent me back. So,
did you weren't watching last night, Bill? Well, wait a minute. We did this after the show. We have a private session with Philly Drone, and we told him we may be going to the dark side.
Uh-oh. And you heard dun 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 dun.
Yeah, Darth Vader may deliver the we've known you stepped to the dark side. You've been in the Altel camp.
Oh yeah, I've been in the dark side. Yeah, I can definitely say that for sure. All right, guys, want to thank you guys so much. Let's just real quick closing thoughts. Ron, go ahead.
Again, this is like when Billy asked me I was going to be on tonight, I said, I got to be on tonight. This is the biggest show we've had in a long time. We've been doing a lot of these shows lately. We come on and we try to give news, but it's really, we were recycling a lot of information for tonight. We really had some good news. A lot of it's rumors, but we do have that FCC grant here. So this is beyond rumor on the Mini 2. So we actually have some real substance today. I know the Phantom 5 and the Mavic 3 stuff's more on the rumor side, but we did give you one winner there on that Mavic Mini 2 tonight. So thanks for stopping by, folks. We're going to keep you up on all the news on the Mini, on all the shows that we do or whatever, and appear on and watch for videos from all our channels on updates. And I'm going to throw it to Marcus.
Yeah, no, I'm going to just echo what both you guys said. Enjoy the drone that you have, but it sounds like there's a lot of good stuff coming. I got to be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of the Mini, so an upgraded Mini I just think is awesome. I could even be probably more excited about that than a Mavic 3 maybe, because it's something I would probably fly more often. So
and remember, if you need a Mini 1, just check my eBay store.
Yeah, there you go, Ron. So yeah, and hopefully whatever that TFR is that's over all of Idaho is some kind of mistake or something. Otherwise, you won't see any drone videos out of me for a while.
There'll be a lot of OM4 reviews.
Yeah, I've got a couple of videos in the editing process, but yeah. So let's hope that they lift that TFR before November 29th.
Yeah, that does not sound bode too well. Like I said, you guys can get down here. We got room for you.
Why do you think that Altel drone's on the way? It doesn't have any flight restrictions.
Dinner.
There you go.
There's dinner. All right, guys. I'm going to say thank you to Ron and to Marcus. It was a great time, and I agree with Ron. It's great to have some real things that we can tell you guys tonight. You know, we have some verifiable, real information, so that's always good. Things are coming up the end of the year, things to look forward to. You know, if you're naughties, you know, make sure your naughties don't outnumber your nices, so Santa can get you some nice things this year, because there's a lot of things coming up. Okay, we got a lot coming up. Again, thank you everybody tonight. We had like almost 80 people, I think, watching tonight, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much. And as always, guys, remember, it is always, always, always a great day to fly. Take care.